Hey guys, this episode of Fall Obsession Podcast is driven by our partners at Hoot Camo, Bear River Archery, Tacticam Reveal, and the Outdoor Call Radio app. If you guys are curious on some discount codes that these partners have built exclusively for our Fall Obsession Podcast listeners, then I encourage you to go to the episode description wherever you are streaming from, and you should find those discount codes there along with a link to go shop with those partners. Make sure that you guys are subscribed to the show and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Like us on social media. We always appreciate that support for our brand. Thank you for doing that. Also, go check out our website, fallobsession.com. We just dropped some new apparel on that site. Some great designs for you guys as we are finishing out the summer seasons and beginning to anticipate and plan for those fall hunting seasons. So make sure you guys go check out what we got going on over there. I'll even do you guys one better. And if you want to save a little bit of money on your next purchase at fallobsession.com, use the promo code 281. That should be this episode number, and that will save you guys some money at checkout. I am Sam Thrash. I'm your show host here at Fall Obsession Podcast, and this week my guest is Gabe Robinson. You guys are going to love this episode. It is incredible. It's a great conversation. I hope you all enjoy. You are listening to another Fall Obsession podcast.
The power lies within that middle ground.
Hunting transformed my life.
I think you have to be built somewhat different.
That Dale Brisby's a super puncher.
It's we need to get Pop-Tarts on the next Walmart order. I'm serious.
Because to come into this country and stay dedicated to that, it was pretty awesome.
If it's only for one, then you've done your job.
We have to do what's right for the wildlife, and that's our responsibility as hunters.
Fall Obsession Podcast.
Welcome back, everybody, to another Fall Obsession Podcast episode. My name is Sam Thrash. I'm hosting you guys once again, and my guest this week is a first-timer on our show, Gabe Robinson. Welcome to Fall Obsession Podcast, man.
Dude, thank you for having me on. I'm stoked to be here.
Man, I'm stoked for this one too. I always enjoy getting on here with other creators and producers in their own regard and everything. And yeah, I've been looking forward to having this conversation with you. So I do want to throw out we are live on YouTube this evening. I want to throw out to our audience that's tuning in. You guys are welcome to, as y'all log on, hit up the chat section, ask questions, throw comments in there. We'll be doing our best to monitor that throughout the duration of the episode. So please, you're welcome to engage. Gabe, I want to start off by asking you, how did you get into hunting?
That's an interesting story. So I really didn't start, I didn't grow up hunting, honestly. I only started, 2026? 5 years ago.
5 years ago.
I grew up fishing. I grew up in Washington, near Seattle, and my dad would always take me and my brother out to these lakes in the foothills of Mount Rainier. We'd backpack in, and that's really where I just fell in love with nature. And then I grew up on 5 acres of thick forest, so we'd always be playing in the woods as kids, digging traps and trying to be bushcraft survival guys, as you do, doing airsoft wars and whatnot. And then, oddly enough, my dad loves cooking, and so he really got into watching all these cooking shows, and then he started watching Meat Eater, and he would actually almost fast forward the hunt to get to the cook. That's all he wanted to do, was see what was getting cooked, which was really funny. And I got to watch some of the hunting shows, oh, that looks really cool. And some of my buddies went duck hunting, so I'd go duck hunting every now and then in high school, and I always wanted to do it, but my dad didn't do it. I didn't have family that did it, and Washington State's regulations are not good. They're really confusing. But when I was, I think, 15 or 16, I did buy a deer tag because we saw a black-tailed buck off our back porch, and it smacked him off the back porch. But that's not really a hunt; that's more of a harvest. So yeah. That was my first kill, and then I moved to Montana to go to college, actually to become a ski bum. I was a ski instructor throughout all of high school and loved skiing, and that's all I wanted to do. And I was like, hey, there's Bridger Bowl. So I was in Bozeman, so it was Bridger Bowl, Big Sky, and a couple other ski resorts. I'm like, I'm just going to go ski and do nothing else. And then I kind of fell into a hunting friend group and went on a couple hunts with them, watching them. And I'm like, oh, this is pretty sweet. And I was like, I have a hunting rifle. I have a scope. I was like, okay, I can put this together and make it work. And then I went and bought some camo off Facebook Marketplace. It was some Sitka and a Sitka backpack that reeked of cigarettes and had holes from getting burned. It was cheap. And I was like, oh, it's going to camouflage me, even though, I don't know. Now I know it's you could have been in jeans for that hunt. And I found a piece of public land That was like 1 square mile, and I went there every single day. I
Yeah.
had seen a deer there one time before, and I figured if I went there enough times, my head it was if a deer was there once, it's going to be there again, and I'm going to make sure that I'm there when it's there next. And so that was just by sheer determination. My first year hunting, I ended up shooting a little 4x2 muley buck solo, and I really didn't know what I was doing at all.
Yeah.
And that's still one of the deer, even though it's my smallest buck ever. I'm still so proud of that deer.
Yeah, rightfully so, man. So, like, how did after you killed that deer and everything, how did that go and everything, getting him out of there and taking care of it in hindsight, knowing what you know now? I'm not trying to bring up rough stories or anything, but everybody starts somewhere, right? And everybody has that origin story and everything.
Yeah. So I was sitting on kind of the spot that was what I thought was a glassing knob. I could see maybe 400 yards. It wasn't a glassing knob, but there was this one little timber valley, and that's exactly where I'd seen a buck one time. I'm like, okay, he's got to come back. And so this buck comes in, I see him, and I'm like, well, I can't shoot 400 yards. So I move in closer, and I just walked straight at him. It's like, I'm just going to walk slowly and kind of sneak in. Like, I know how to sneak around an animal, but not like fully stalk like I do now. And I lose him in the timber, and he walks out about, I don't know, 80 yards from me. And I have nothing between me and him. And so I lay down and just get prone and just take a shot and smack him. And he just drops in his tracks. It was awesome. I was shooting a 7 mag, so took care of him. But then, yeah, I get up to him and I realize I don't really know what I'm doing. Like, I've gut a deer before. Don't know how to quarter one out.
Yeah.
Don't really know what I'm doing. So I gut the deer, and I'm about a mile-ish from my truck, and it's up a hill, down a hill, up a hill, down a hill to my truck. And I'm like, okay, this is going to suck. I have this little backpack, like, think maybe 20 liters. Tiny, like not a meat shelf pack, just a bag. I had some snacks in it. That's about it. Some water. And so I start thinking, okay, what can I cut off this animal to reduce weight? So actually, on the elbow bones on its front legs and then its knees on its back legs, I cut the legs off, which I shouldn't have done because I couldn't hang it. And I just kind of rolled it up the hill and then rolled it on top of my shoulders and had the kind of the chest cavity open on one shoulder and its horns in my right hand, and then on my left shoulder I had its one leg over my shoulder and then behind my shoulder as well, kind of split. So I was just kind of hugging it, and then my rifle was just hung over my neck, and I was kind of just like would walk 100-ish yards, drop the deer, wait, roll it, roll back, walk 100 yards, and I made it back to my truck in about, I don't know, 2 hours. It sucked. Yeah. It was mid rut in Montana, so he was fat, and I was just covered in blood. And yeah, it was not a good time, but I made it out. It was like I shot him at like last light too, so it's pitch black. I was terrified, but yeah, just chugged along, got him out.
Yeah. Well, and it as much as it sucked, it obviously had some sort of positive impact on you because you're still a hunter today. it didn't deter you.
Nope. Yeah, I that was like, I cried when I shot that deer. I have no shame in admitting that. I was alone, and I was like, this is so special that I set my mind to do something that I'd never done. And I have a lot of friends in Washington who've hunted a lot of their lives, and they've only ever shot does, or they've never shot a deer. I have a couple friends who've hunted multiple years, and they've never shot an animal. I figured out why that is now, but before I was like, oh, it must be super hard to shoot anything. And so I was like I passed up these like little forky horns because I'm like, I'm not going to shoot a tiny buck, even though my buck I shot was maybe 100 inches. But first buck, who cares? I'm proud of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just was like, this is insane. I was so proud and filled with joy that I'd set my mind to something and then accomplished it. Like the most accomplished I've ever felt up in my life up to that point was with that kill.
Yeah.
And then taking it home, butchering it myself. My dad flew out, came and helped me, and it was so fun to get to share it with friends and family. That's like the other part of hunting I love is, I don't know, in my opinion, the kill is just turning the page to the next chapter, which is processing and sharing, not the end of the story. And so I loved getting to share it with friends and family and enjoy clean protein.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more, man. I relate that. I had a mule deer hunt in Colorado in 23, and not the Colorado you think of, like mountainous and all that good stuff. It is a it's flatland, like northeastern, practically Nebraska type Colorado.
Yeah.
And archery hunting mule deer in that flat country with a bow, it was insane, and was successful in the end. And yeah, you're filled with emotion. I was with two of my very good friends on that hunt and everything, and so I shot that deer on day 3, and we still had 4 more days to get one of the other guys a deer. So I went full cameraman mode after that hunt and everything,
awesome.
and got to still hang out with them. And yeah, there's something to be said about camaraderie out there, man, and being able to do it with people that matter to you. That's super special. And that's a part of hunting that I've said it before on the show with other guests, but I feel like the West and Western hunting opportunities, they offer that in a way that even down here in the South necessarily we have, but we don't. Like, we can share camp together, but like, I'm from Texas and we have deer stands and tree stands, and typically the hunt itself, you kind of experience that by yourself. But my Western hunting experiences, I've gotten to feel what it's like to actually be on a hill glassing for animals with your friends and putting on a stalk with your friends, and everything is together, and it's so special. It's awesome.
Yeah, I don't know, it's funny that you said that, because it wasn't till 2 years ago that I actually killed something with somebody.
Yeah.
I spent, like, the friends that got me into hunting, they were just drinking buddies, and I stopped drinking, stopped being buddies. And I kind of went my way. I was doing my own thing, and I got into hunting. I have a couple buddies who hunt. Like, I had a couple good buddies who I'm actually still super close friends with that hunted in Montana, but I was in college. They were working full time and had families. It just never worked out. And so I was like, okay, nobody's going to go as hard as me. And dude, I mean, shoot, I've averaged, I would say, at least 50 days a season hunting since I started. And so I just go every chance I can get. I skipped all of my classes, but I was in college in the COVID era, so everything was online. So I would just get Wi-Fi at night, take my online tests, cheat my way through college, go to like honestly, it was a joke, but like I would go hunt 60 days out of a 90-day semester and get all A's. Like, it was so stupid, but nobody I really knew they either already had their hunting groups and they kind of hunted with their buddies, or they were just getting into hunting and they weren't as like full send, full bore as me. And I enjoyed it. I really enjoyed learning the hard way, I would say. But I don't know, it's been a fun thing to learn and get into archery, because after I shot that deer, I went and bought a bow off a buddy and got just like obsessed with archery. Like, that became all I wanted to do.
Well, and that's a good segue into kind of, at some point, I wanted to talk to you in this conversation about archery and how you got into that and everything, because obviously, like, looking at your content, your social media and everything, there's a heavy emphasis on some archery content on there. So I wanted to hear your story on your driving force behind getting into archery and finding a love for that.
Yeah, so after I shot that mule deer, my first season ever, my roommate's dad, I was like, oh man, I want to get a doe. I want to get like a whitetail doe. He gave me some pins. I ended up getting a doe as well that year. So I shot 2 deer my first year ever hunting. And then he was telling me, I was like, man, I'm so bummed hunting season's over. And he's talking about muzzle loader. I'm like, like maybe I could go fill another B tag with a muzzle loader. And I'm like, it's too cold. Like, I want to hunt earlier. And he's like, well, you have to hunt archery. And I'm like, what do you mean? Like, I didn't really understand, because in Washington, you have to get a special tag to be able to hunt multi-season. It's called a multi-season tag. So you had to pick rifle, archery, or muzzle. You have to pick what weapon you use for which species. So it's way less hunting time. Whereas in Montana, when you have a general tag, it's archery season, which is almost a month, rifle season, which is almost a month, and then muzzleloader heritage season as well. And so you can hunt a lot longer. And I was like, oh man, so archery season a bow could basically double the time in a calendar year I could hunt. I'm like, I'm buying a bow, like, no brainer. I'm going to pick it up. I was like, my dad shoots a bow. He would shoot deer out of our yard with his bow every now and then. And I'm like, okay, sweet. So I picked up a bow, the local pro shop, which unfortunately they just closed down in Bozeman, is Straight Six Archery. And I met my buddy Isaac there, and me and Isaac are still super close friends, and we would shoot all the time. And he helped me out a lot, and I learned a ton and went through a bunch of different bows and kind of just got very blessed there. There's another guy who helped me out a ton, and like, you would kind of just like swap bows and help me upgrade and help me build arrows and do all that. So I had some good mentors that kind of got me into it, but it just became something that I could do. like I grew up with a shooting range in my backyard and I liked it, but ammo is expensive. I'm not going to shoot all the time. Like it's loud. It's kind of a lot to go set up. You got to be really far. You got to have distance to challenge yourself,
Yeah.
or really small targets. And archery I could go to the archery range. I could go to I go to my backyard and shoot and just shoot and shoot and shoot. And that's just all I would do. It was super relaxing for me. I was just so full bore into hunting. All I would do in the off season is shoot my bow. And every day after class, I'd go shoot my bow for an hour. Mornings before class, I'd go shoot my bow. On the weekends when I was working, before and after, I'd go shoot my bow. Go to the gym, go shoot my bow out. Like it was just my daily life. And
Yeah.
I was probably shooting upwards of 1,000 arrows a week for a good time there. When I was really learning originally, I'd go shoot for 5 or 6 hours at a time. And it honestly, I would say that kind of screwed me though, because I'd get so tired, I'd start forming bad habits. And so then it took a lot of training and a lot of learning. And I watch a lot of John Dudley and Joel Turner content. And every year I do this where I'll go and I'll spend a week just breaking down my shot process, do blank bailing, checking my peep, just getting it dialed in. And I usually do it kind of springtime, and then I just am dialed for the rest of summer with my form.
Yeah.
But yeah, it just became something where my brain could go quiet and there's nothing else but me, that bow, and the arrow. Like that's it.
Yeah.
Which is nice.
It's incredible what archery can do for you. I worked at an archery pro shop, long time ago, before I was a fireman or anything like that, and it really taught me a lot about that shot process and everything, because then not just are you constantly in it and constantly exposed to it and honing your skills, but then you have other people coming into that shop and you're trying to help them, break some bad habits and that kind of stuff. And it really, really puts you in fine tune. So I typically, like when I'm getting warmed up for a season, I typically do the same thing where I start, even though I love shooting long range archery. That's like, it's so much fun.
That is the best.
It is so much fun, but I want to pick up my bow and just go out there and just start flinging them at like 50, 60, 70 plus. And, I have to stop myself. I have to be like, no, hold on. Let's back this up. We're going to start at 20. We're going to start at 20 and just make sure that everything is clicking. Everything is where it needs to be. And then we're going to start backing it out. So yeah, the fundamentals are essential for sure. And yeah, if you have bad habits and you're wanting to shoot long range, then it's going to make long range even more frustrating, and you're going to maybe lose a little bit of your interest in it if you're frustrated.
Yeah. I'm trying to find a picture of my forearm when I first got into archery. I picked up the bow and I just gripped it like it's a dumbbell. And if you know anything about archery, you know that means my left forearm is in the middle of a string path. And when you shoot a 60-pound bow, good 50 times, and you're getting hit by the string every time, it tears your arm up pretty good.
Yeah.
Gotta find it was so bad. And it wasn't until like the next day I came in, I had to actually stop. Like I had to stop shooting for that week because my arm was so swollen. I couldn't, even with proper grip, I was getting hit. I'm trying to find this, but it was years ago now. Oh, there it is. Yeah.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah, dude, it was.
That's a good one.
It was gnarly. And so that was something that, like, that's also why I love it so much, is like the more you learn, the more you know less, if that makes sense. Like the more I learn, the more I'm like, oh, I actually don't know, or, oh, I'm not that good, or, oh, I have this to improve now. So I feel like the more I improve on, the more things I have to watch and pay attention to. And like right now I'm learning recurve, and I'm just starting to get to the point where I can, as soon as that shot breaks, I know if where that arrow is going in relation to the target because of what I messed up in my shot process.
Yeah.
And like that is for me, that's like the big pivotal point, because then every single shot I can go, okay, I wasn't focusing enough on pulling through. I punched the trigger, or I gripped the bow, or whatever it is. You can dial it into that specific thing. And then you get to a point where your brain's focused on 10 different specific things at once to execute one shot.
Yeah.
And I just love the mental focus you need to be a good archer. I love it.
It's the development of those fundamentals and it becoming instinctual. That's
Exactly.
what it is. Exactly what it is. What drove you to what inspired you to get into the traditional side of it with the recurve?
I just started telling people I was going to kill an antelope with a recurve.
Just wanted to do it just cuz.
I just was like, man, that'd be kind of cool. And then I was like, yeah, I'm planning on. I just kind of started saying it to people like I don't even know, like subconsciously. I was like, yeah, I told a few guys, and they're like, no, like you're like, and I'm like, I'm gonna film it too. I'm like, nobody else is doing it. I'm gonna do something different.
Yeah.
Is kind of what my thought process was. But then I started saying it, and then one of my buddies was like, dude, you don't even own a recurve. Like you've never shot one. And I'm like, yeah. Yeah, I should probably order one, shouldn't I? I got like a month.
Probably get
So
going
my
on
recruit
that.
got here, and yeah, so I've been shooting it. I'm 12 days into shooting it. I'm doing a whole series on my Instagram. It's gonna be 40 days of my improvement leading up to a. I have about 12 days I can hunt for archery antelope this year.
Yeah.
That I'm not filming myself, or not, I'm not filming other people. So I got a lot of time to do it.
Yeah.
And I'll be honest though, on day 10, if I haven't shot one on day 10 and I keep getting within 60 yards, I'm probably gonna grab my compound bow and go smoke one.
It's going to be
So
hard not to, for sure, especially if you're that close.
it's gonna piss me off so many times. It's gonna be such a good film when I produce that, because I'm gonna get a bunch of action cameras and rig up my bow and myself and just kind of have it be like a POV film
Yeah.
rather than trying to look the camera around. And it's gonna be a lot of just me getting pissed off. But that's kind of what I love about antelope, and especially archery antelope, is you get to experience so much failure, and failure is what you learn from.
Yes.
And dude, I love it. It is my favorite.
It's a drug, man. Like you're in it and you're like, dude, this sucks. Why do I do this? I'm never doing this again. And then, but a second later, you're like, this is the greatest thing on the face of the planet. It is so just mind-boggling to me. I've had a couple of antelope hunts. I have killed an antelope with a bow before,
Nice.
and it is just like so many. The highs and lows are unbelievable. It's hard to
Yeah.
describe. It is incredible. Oh, and I know you have a video on your YouTube and everything, but and you sent me photos and everything that we're using to promote this episode too. But for our listeners, you have killed antelope before. You have hunted
I've
them
killed
before.
2 antelope with a bow. So that second year after I shot my first mule deer, I was like, oh, you can draw tags. I was like, oh, I'm gonna put in for rifle antelope, and I drew rifle antelope tag, and in less than 24 hours apart, I killed 2 antelope with a rifle. Like it was I'd never gone to these places. I just knew my buddy's like, yeah, there's antelope all over this region. Like put in for the tag, and I put in. It was a small buck, but I only really had 2 days to hunt before I wanted to try to focus on getting a deer with my bow. And I just boom, boom, uh, filled 2 tags, filled the freezer. I love how antelope taste.
It's so
And
good.
I was like, man, that's really easy. And then my buddy was telling me about, hey, you can put in for archery tags. And I'm like, oh, okay, I'll put in for some archery tags. And then it took me 2.5 years of hunting antelope for like well into September. Like I didn't elk hunt because I was antelope hunting.
Yeah.
So I'm like, it's just so much. You get to see the animals.
Yeah.
I'd rather go stalk an antelope than try to call an elk in right now, which
Yeah.
is people think I'm crazy for, but I probably get more stalks a day antelope hunting than people even see elk in a day.
Yeah, it's a different ball game, man, and it is something special. I had almost the reverse experience to a point. My first trip pronghorn hunting, it was my first hunt outside of the state of Texas, and
Hmm.
on day 3 I shoot a Pope and Young pronghorn, and then after that, the next year and everything that follows, I haven't killed one since. Everything has just been the frustration that we all know with antelope hunting and
Uh,
everything. So
they fooled you. They're like, oh, we're easy, and then you're like,
oh,
not really.
it wasn't easy by any means, but in hindsight, I'm like, dude, I got stinking lucky, is what I what I got killing a
Yeah,
buck like that on day 3. So
this was the first buck I killed. I don't have my bigger one, but this one, he shed a horn. Um,
oh wow,
and he was an interesting fella, but that was my first ever archery antelope. So
I'm gonna try to find
yeah,
a picture of mine just to share with you. I know our
yeah, I'd love to see him.
our listeners are probably tired of hearing me talk about it because it seems to come up somewhat regularly on podcasts, but I haven't talked to you about it, so
I know, a new
I'm gonna
person. You get to
I'm
talk to new things.
yeah, I'm gonna show you the picture. So let's see
I
here.
think I'm trying to think. What am I? I think my antelope taped last year, right in the mid 70s. But I never got it officially scored. I don't know. I'm like, if it makes me happy when I shoot it, shoot it. I'm way more of like a unique bucks, unique animals. I like a droopy, like antelope kind of they'll look like their horns are melting.
Yeah.
Dude, I got a bead on one for this year. I have two target bucks this year. That I really want to get after. One of them was my target buck last year, and actually, the day after I killed my buck, I helped a buddy. I was kind of guiding him, and we got 15 yards from him, and then he spooked up and ran out to 45, and I ranged it, and I whisper 45, and my buddy goes okay, and shoots, and he looks at me and he goes, "Did you say 55?" And I'm like, "No." And he won't score well, the buck, because he's super thin, but he is 29. He's
Oh
probably about
wow.
27 inches tall. Yeah, yeah. We nicknamed him Twin Towers.
This is mine.
Dude. That's a dandy, man.
I don't know if you can see it
That's a
real well.
nice
The
one,
ring
dude.
light's kind of getting into it there, but yeah, he I think Pope and Young minimum is 67 or something like that, and
Oh, then that definitely. I think mine would be Pope and Young.
yeah, he was just over it. He taped out at I think it was 68 or 69 and some change, and
What state was that in?
Montana.
Okay, okay.
Yeah,
Nice.
but he had a broken cutter, on one of his horns, and that's how we actually. I gotta tell a story now. I can't not tell it. Sorry. it's,
Oh, dude, I love it.
we spotted this buck the day before. I killed him on the second day. We were hunting kind of a mixture of public and private that we had access to in this area, and we saw him on this piece of private that we didn't have permission on while we were driving around. We stopped, and of course, right off the road, like they always are. And just we're like, dude, that thing's an awesome buck. And he had a cutter that was broke, but not broke all the way off. It was just like halfway split off, kind of hanging there. We're like, man, it'd be cool to see one like that. Like, that's what we're looking for. Fast forward, long story short, the next day, this buck starts coming in, and I just get a glimpse of that cutter, and I'm like, nope, I got to stop thinking about that. I shoot this buck at 41 yards and watch him go down, walk up on him. I'm like, yep, that's him. And when he ran up a hill and then rolled down it, and when he rolled down it, he broke it off even more, but it was still dangling. It was still attached and dangling there.
So cool.
And I wasn't even thinking about Pope and Young or anything like that, because I'm like you. I'm like, man, when I'm hunting out west, I'm not hunting, monsters. I'm going off of my opportunity, especially on my first hunt. And so I wouldn't even think about it until I posted that picture I showed you of the mount. Had some buddies like, dude, you need to score him. You need to score him. So I scored him, saw what he taped out at, and was like, well, maybe it would be kind of cool to just have one in the book. That's not, can't always say that about your animal. And so I started looking into it, and I had that cutter repaired just because I wanted him to look clean and artificial, ineligible. So I was like, oh well. But I'm not losing sleep over it. It's just, it's still an incredible experience, and hunting those critters, man, is just it's so
They're
crazy.
the best.
Crazy.
I think that they are the most overlooked species in North America for beginner hunters, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Especially bow hunters. If you want to get reps stalking an animal,
Oh yeah.
like there's no better animal to do it on than pronghorn.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, they're my favorite by far.
So how close do you need to be with that recurve? What's your goal?
Right now, I'm shooting 30 yards. So if I open my door, I can shoot a dice target at 30 yards straight there. And I can hit the target, I would say 4 out of 5 times right now. I'm hitting the target. And usually when I'm hitting the target, my left and right's pretty good. I'm like within an inch left or right. It's just my vertical. And then if I pluck the string every now and then, which is where you move your hand away from your face instead of back, that influences your arrow. I learned that 2 days ago.
Yeah.
And it'll go way left. And so I miss hard left if I don't focus on my form. Ideally, I would like to be really confident out to like 40 yards. I know that's a very bold goal for only having 40 days to get really good with a bow,
Yeah.
especially like a traditional recurve, but I think I can do it. Would love to get closer and shoot one at like, I don't know, 20 yards to 30 yards is ideal. Antelope are tricky though. One thing I've learned, because I've shot at a lot of antelope, which is very educational as well. A lot of people say they don't duck a string like a whitetail, which they do sometimes, but they more run the string. You'll be 20 yards shooting 300 feet per second arrow, and the antelope will be 2 body lengths away from where you aimed by the time that arrow gets there if it chooses to run. They are fast.
Yes.
And what I've learned is within about 40 yards, a compound bow will spook them. They're on edge. Like even if an animal doesn't see you, when you stalk into an animal, they know you're there. They have that sixth sense. They're prey animals. They're aware of their surroundings. They just don't perceive you as a threat to get to like run up and like get up and run yet. But they're aware that something's up, unless you stalk in perfectly, which some people can do. But they're aware, and so I think that big sound that they hear when a bow goes off, because a compound bow is decently loud when you're pretty close, will spook them, and that'll get them to just kind of like hop or run 8-10 feet away. And then they'll see you because they'll look towards the sound and they'll hear the arrow impact, and then they run right to like 100 yards and they'll sit and stare at you. That's just their typical thing. And so I've found with a compound bow, shooting them in that 60 to 70 yard range, they don't jump as much, but they'll spin and they'll look at you. And it's like that first antelope I shot, he spun and I shot him straight in the neck.
Oh, wow.
Like my arrow looked really good. He turned and just looked at the flight of the arrow and it just went straight in his throat. And effective kill shot, to say the least. But I'm hoping that this recurve bow is going to be quieter at those closer ranges. I know my arrows are going like 140-ish feet per second. And so I'm just hoping I can get in and just take my time and make a good shot on one. And ideally, I'd sneak up on one bedded, which is not easy to do. And then play the patience game, which is the hardest thing to do, just sitting there waiting for it to stand up and then shoot it. That's my plan.
Yeah.
What'll happen.
The hard thing with one bedded is there's normally more with it. And that can make it tricky.
And with antelope, with how big their lungs are, you got to aim real low.
Yeah.
If you hit high lung when they're bedded, you'll miss all the lungs. You won't hit them at all because their lungs collapse so much when they're resting because of how fast they can run, right? So you got to aim kind of lower. I like to look at an antelope and that where in their armpit they kind of have that where that white belly comes to like a 90-degree angle. That's my point of aim with an antelope.
Gotcha.
I love it. Like it's like a perfect little. Just look at that spot and send it. So yeah, I think 40 yards is probably gonna be my furthest I'd be willing to poke. But that's 100% dependent on me being confident I can make like hit my mark.
Yeah.
There have been a lot of people asking about like, is it ethical, like the ethics of it, which is a really interesting conversation. And for like, is it like, why would I choose to hunt with a recurve when I have a modern compound that gives me a larger margin for air? And even people got to the rifle community, guys are like, why would you choose to hunt with that when you could choose to hunt with a rifle? And it's just a really interesting conversation. And like my philosophy is it's my responsibility to be as ethical as possible, to make the right judgment calls, to spend the time with whatever weapon I choose to hunt with, to be proficient enough to make a shot. If I release the arrow and I shoot at an antelope with my recurve and it doesn't move and I hit my mark, but I aim with a compound and shoot one and it moves and I hit it in the guts, does that make the recurve more ethical then? Like, animals move. Injuries happen. I've wounded animals and it sucks. It's not something I take lightly. I wounded for the first time this last season, I wounded an animal that I knew I wasn't going to recover and I knew it was going to die. And that tore me up. I lost sleep over that. Not a good feeling. And it was with a rifle, not even with a bow. And so it's like, you just got to know your limits. You got to understand what you're capable of, how the weapon you use performs, and what a good shot placement is, and then execute.
Yeah. So. I couldn't agree more, man. I think it comes like I don't care what your weapon is. Everything that you just said is applicable, in my opinion. You know, even I'm a huge archery guy. The last 13 years, I have only bow hunted. I have not rifle hunted. And it wasn't until I went on that mule deer hunt in Colorado with guys out there who typically rifle hunt out there and, you know, have some very, very nice rifle setups for long range shooting and stuff like that. And just, you know, hunt and talk in camp. We're talking about, you know, just practicing with your equipment and stuff like that. And Tim, one of the guys in camp, he's like, yeah, like you with these rifles and to make these shots on these mule deer out here and stuff like this, we have to be practicing constantly. We have to make sure that we're doing everything. And, you know, it was just, I grew up rifle hunting in Texas, like rifle hunting whitetail when I was a kid. But, you know, you'd shoot a few rounds on the range, you know, before the season, make sure you were zeroed, and most of your shots were under 100 yards.
Yeah.
You know, and yeah, I mean, still, there's a responsibility to make ethical shots, but it wasn't like archery. It wasn't like this big need to like practice and practice and practice, you know, to master it, if you will, and start talking long range rifles. And I was like, man, light bulb moment. It makes total sense to me how it's applicable to anything. So from the ethics standpoint, yeah, I completely agree, and we all make bad shots. I'm not here to judge anybody. I lost a buck that I really didn't want to lose, you know, a couple seasons ago, you know, and it sucks. It's a gut wrenching feeling, but unfortunately it's part of hunting. And my dad always said growing up, you've never really hunted unless you've had one of those feelings where you missed or unfortunately perhaps wounded or didn't recover an animal. Like, you know, if you're legitimately getting out there and trying to hunt and put meat on your table, at some point it's likely going to happen. So
Yeah. I mean, last year I had a opening day antelope. I had a shot at 55 yards on a goat, and it was early morning, and I misjudged which way he was standing. He was kind of tucked in a sagebrush right between me and him, and I knew that sagebrush was like 35 yards away, so I knew my arrow was going to go right above it. And I looked at the way his head was facing and tried to judge his body, and I misjudged it completely. So I shot right in front of his shoulders, straight through the brisket, bloody arrow, very little blood trail. I was shooting a 2-inch mechanical, like it sliced him open. I tracked that goat for 2 days. And that's the one I got 20 yards from. I got 20 yards from him and stood up and drew. And by the time I was at full draw, he was in the freaking next county. Well, not really. He was still in that field. But I went back the next day. So day 2, he's walking around. I watch where he's walking. I go look for blood. He's not bleeding anymore. I glass up. He's got like a bloody patch on his chest, but it's dark brown now. And I'm like, okay, he's going to seal up just fine. He was pushing does. Like he's going to live. Yeah. And I think people don't realize, like, you can shoot an animal and cut an animal and they get cut and scraped all the time. And so I don't know any statistics, but I would imagine on grazing shots, I'd rather get a grazing shot from a bow than a rifle.
Yeah.
Guarantee you that wouldn't hurt as bad. Yeah. And so I think people get a little too confident with rifles at times, and they overestimate their ability to shoot and they make bad shots. And like on the long range shooting, yeah, I've shot at animals out to 400 yards. That's my furthest I've been proficient at, but I got a coos deer hunt this fall, and I'm like, hey, I got to get like my scope's only 15 magnification. And the guy was like, there's a real possibility of a 500 to 600 yard shot. You need to be proficient. He told me, he's like, you need to be proficient out to 800 to be ethical out to 5 to 6, which I love that statement. And so he's like, hey, you want like at least a 20 magnification scope. I'm going to shoot a 6.5 Creedmoor, the Ruger American. It's a great rifle. And so I'm getting the build out, and I'm going to do a very similar series to my traditional bow series this fall about the shooting basics. Like, I've grown up shooting guns all my life, but I have a couple buddies who are PRS shooters, and I'm going to have them go back down to the basics and talk to me like I know nothing about guns, because I think that's the best way to like learn, is to build a solid foundation to build your skills on. Just like we talked about breaking down the shot process of your bow. I've never really applied that to rifle hunting, and I'm really excited to dial in that rifle and like truly spend the time to get very, very proficient and very, very lethal with one.
Yeah, absolutely. That's awesome, man. Yeah, I applying that to my archery world. People ask me, like, when you go out west, what's your, like, how far can you shoot? How far can you kill an animal? It's like, I need to be ready to take a 100-yard shot. That's my personal goal for myself.
Yeah.
I need to be ready and able to take a 100-yard ethical shot with my bow. Now, do I want to? No, I want to be much closer. But that's like the goal I set for myself. And if I can do that, then those shots that are less than that seem all the more easier if I'm comfortable at that range. And fortunately for me, my that pronghorn at 41 has been the longest shot I've taken out west on an animal. I practice out to 100, and yet everything has been close, and that's good. That's the way
awesome.
we want it. Right?
That means you're good at stalking animals, man. It means you're good at getting it close.
Again, it means I'm lucky. It means I'm lucky.
Yeah.
So
every successful hunter needs a little bit of luck. You need 95% skill, 5% luck.
Yeah, there's a little bit of luck in there for sure. And I mean, man, that's just, it's evident to me, man. Like, you go out there. I went on an elk hunt in Idaho a couple years ago, and I'm standing on top of a mountain, and I'm like, dude, I'm looking at all of this country in front of me. I'm like, how am I gonna get close enough to an elk in all of this? All of this is in front of me. How am I supposed to get close enough to an elk? But it freaking happens anyway, right? And we put in the work, and everything comes together, and it's such a, like, hunting is just a special and incredible experience in that regard. So I could talk about that forever. I want to ask you about kind of the phase in life that you found all of this, because you kind of got into hunting, into archery, and now I mean we'll get to it here in a second, but you're full bore into this thing at this point, from a media standpoint even. Mm-hmm. So what's it been like getting into all this as, kind of hot and heavy like you are now in recent years as an adult?
Okay. So a little bit of backstory about the social media. Sure. I created something called boot scooters, which was cowboy boots, and I'd hollowed out the heel and put wheels in them, Healy wheels, so you could scoot around. Oh, dude. And that was it. But I posted one post. It got like 20 million views, and I got 100,000 followers on I wasn't even trying to do social media at that time. And so that opened my eyes, and that was in 2020. And I realized, this could be something that I do. And through a series of unfortunate events and somewhat fortunate events, I gained about 500,000 followers on TikTok. But I was mainly in the Western. I wasn't into hunting yet. So I was into Western, kind of just like comedy, like political stuff, skits like that. And honestly, I was the worst person ever at that time. I had an ego. I was a douchebag. I would just use it to glorify myself. And ultimately, God humbled me. I made a bunch of political posts, and my entire account got banned, all gone. Oh, wow. And I was like, okay. And I took a break. I took about a 3-year break from social. But throughout that time, I realized, like, oh man, like, you can make money on that. Like, you can make a living doing that. And I still had kind of some followers left over, and like created a second account right away and started posting just lifestyle stuff, just life. And then that kind of slowed down, and ultimately, I was like, oh man, I really want to start it back up. And so I planned 2 seasons ago, I was going to go film some hunts, and so I'm out in Montana filming and hunting, which doesn't really work. You got to pick one or the other, is what I learned that season. And so I have all this footage, and I never really edited it. And then that, like, I was still working a full-time job. Like, I was kind of half doing it. I wasn't full bore. I didn't have any paying clients. I was just doing it for fun. And then that rifle season, I ended up shooting myself in the foot. Like, literally, I shot myself in the foot with a 7 mag. And I was crossing a fence, and I didn't unchamber around after shooting a doe, and my rifle got caught in barbed wire. As I was getting it out, it went off through my foot, just the side, just grazed myself. And throughout that recovery process, I just kind of realized, I'm like, how old was I? 22? I think I was 22 when that happened. Yeah, 20. I was 22, I think. I don't know, 22 or 23.
Yeah.
So I was 22 or 23 when that happened, and I just had a lot of time to think, and like, I've always lived life at full speed, and that really forced me to slow down and just think about life. I was just graduated college with a marketing degree, and I was working as a general contractor. Good pay. I mean, I was making good money. I didn't mind it, but I didn't love swinging a hammer every day. And I just kind of realized, I'm like, man, I really want to, like, why not try? I had a pretty nice cushion worth of savings, and Okay, I was like, okay, I made a plan. I'm like, I'm gonna save all my money that I work. I'm gonna then quit my job in August and send it and be like, hey, I have 6 months worth of expenses in my bank account. So I don't need to work for 6 months. So I have 6 months to make this work. And so I started kind of DMing brands, showing them my photography work because I've been doing photography since I was a little kid, and just getting really into the videography side of it more and the social side of it and doing like influencer work, doing ads, doing spec work, shooting video for brands, product photos, just doing any work I could. And then right when I quit my job, I had one paying contract that was like $350 a month, and that was it. And then like a week later, I got another paying contract, and then another, and I was like, okay, this is happening. Like, holy crap, this is going. And I spent 4 months living out of my truck, traveling from Montana to Colorado to New Mexico to Arizona to Utah, back up to Montana, filming people's hunts and hunting for myself.
Wow.
And that time of literally having nothing to do but hunt and work was the single biggest growth for me. I just was like, there's nothing else I want to do. Like, why would I waste? Like, I'm not at the time. I wasn't married. I don't have kids. I'm debt free. My truck's paid off. Like, I got nothing.
You
Like,
got
I
gas,
go out there and
yeah.
live. I have
Gas
no
and
expense.
food,
I got
that's
gas
it.
and food. And then if I kill something, then it's just gas.
Yeah,
And so I'm like,
exactly.
I can go live like I'm broke. And I ate tuna packets and top ramen and some Peaks meals every now and then. And I was like, that was a fancy night. And I just decided to send it. And my now wife, but at the time girlfriend, was super supportive. And that was another thing that really helped me, was her belief in me, even in moments when I would be really struggling. Because it's 4 months of living and 4 months of living out of my truck. I would stay at somebody's house every now and then, and I think I hunted over 120 days last year. Like, not hunt for myself, but hunted or filmed or was in the woods.
Wow.
120 days last year, dude. I had some mentally challenging moments of just being like, what am I doing? Why am I here? This isn't working. And it was a grind. And just having my girlfriend just to call and support me and be like, she's like, no, you got this. Like, you chose to be there. Go, like, you're there. Don't waste your time.
Yeah.
Do it. And so coming into adulthood now and having responsibilities and now being married, I think one thing that, like, a piece of advice I would give to young guys, because this is kind of an interesting topic, but a lot of guys, when I first started out, they're like, don't get married, don't have kids. Like, you do that, it ruins your hunting career. I'm sure you've heard that. I'm sure other people have heard that. Like, oh, I like my wife, my kids, this and that and the other thing. And I was like, man, like, that kind of, like, as a young, impressionable 20-year-old, I was like, man, like, should I, like, if this is a career I want to pursue, is marriage out of the question, like, all these things. But I just decided, okay, I'm going to date my wife. And while I was dating her, 2 weeks after we started dating, I'm like, okay, I'm going to go on a month-long elk hunt. See ya. I'm gone. And then 2 weeks before that, I was in hunting for antelope for a week. And so it's just like, I've always done it.
Yeah.
I didn't change. And I think a lot of guys, what they'll do is they'll start dating a girl and they'll hunt less. They'll do less of their own thing. They'll suppress who they are for this woman, and they'll do that for 5 years, get married, and then they want to go do their things, but their wife isn't used to that. They didn't set the expectations that they need to go do these things and go adventure. And so I think that's what goes. So my advice for any unmarried or dating guys out there who want to be in the industry and want to find a good woman is just keep doing what you're doing. And if she accepts you for how you are, great. There are women out there who are totally okay doing that and having you be gone for quite some time, and they're going to be supportive of that. But it's also on you to set those expectations, but then also to make sure when you are home with your woman or wife or family that you are the most intentional husband, father that you can be.
Right. Exactly.
And so I've had a lot of guys, I have a couple of mentors who I talk to about that. But yeah, I think that's a big thing is people are like, how do you, like, oh, you got married now, you're not going to be able to hunt as much. And I'm like, dude, I have 2 hunts in August. I have 3 hunts in October or in September. I have 2 hunts in October. I have 2 hunts in November. Like, I have 8 hunts that I'm on that are all roughly 4 to 8 days long.
Yeah.
She's got my back
That's
the entire
awesome.
time.
That's awesome. Yeah, there's a level of authenticity and transparency from the beginning that can set you up for success if you're with the right person from the very get-go with that. So, man, that I'm happy for you. That's an awesome family dynamic to have for sure. So
Yeah, I'm very blessed. I don't know how I got her, but I'm happy. And then as far as business wise, kind of going back to just that full send mentality. I think a lot of people half-ass things. They're like, oh, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. And I saw this post today that it's so true. The time between having an idea and taking action, the longer you wait, the harder it is to take action. You just got to do things. You just got to just do it. Like if you think, oh, this will be fun, go do it. Like, don't think about it. Don't think about not saying don't think things through, but like, obviously if you're like, man, I can think this through and just make a decision and go. Like,
yeah,
I wasn't planning on quitting my job, but I got on the phone with my boss at the time and I was really integral to his company and I knew that. And I was like, I kind of hinted at me leaving and he kind of just ignored it and didn't take it too seriously. And then we got into an argument and I didn't have a job anymore. And I was like, well, okay, I guess I'm doing it. Like, and then like being distracted is the other thing. In that 4 months, I had no distractions, nothing. I mean, maybe I'd call my girlfriend, I'd call my wife, but I'd go to a Starbucks. Like I'd either be in the woods filming or I'd be sitting in a Starbucks or Noodles and Company. Noodles and Company have Wi-Fi and they are open till 10 at night. So if you're editing on the road, Noodles and Company are great. I'd be sitting in a Noodles and Company, eating pasta, editing footage, editing things, editing photos, outreaching, like DMing brands, building pitches, like just learning and doing the actual work. Like there was nothing for me to do than the work I needed to do. Yeah. And because of that, I did a lot of work. And that's like that and God are the reason, like I wouldn't be out here, like are the reasons that these doors have opened. Like that was kind of my saying of last year was like, God has opened doors I could never kick down.
Yeah.
And just through like submitting my life to him and being really obedient, like he has 100% blessed me with the career that I have and the life I have. I mean, I'm 24 and I live my dream life.
Yeah. No,
I wouldn't change a thing.
Putting your trust in him and faith in him to guide you in everything. And, you know, hey, I'm going to live my life for you, Lord. And this is the path I want to go. And I'll trust you to, if it's going to work, it's going to work. If it's not, it's not. And, you know, he's often faithful. I mean, he always is faithful to put you in the situation you need to be in. So that's awesome, man. I'm happy for you. I do want to ask you from an editing standpoint, because it's easy. Like you go to your social media, right? The quality is evident of the production and everything. And so I'm not going to ask the question of, you know, what stands out in the outdoor industry. That should be evident, in my opinion. The quality does stand out, I believe, right? Quality productions do. That's a given. Everybody listening to this should understand that, I feel like. But from an editor standpoint, what makes the difference in that editing room? What are those things that you hone in on in your mind that maybe they're your signature, maybe they're not, but maybe it's just something that you feel like you owe the production. But what are those things that you really hone in on that you think make a difference or take that production to the next level?
Sound 100%. Good, like sound design, not only good audio, but risers, beats, swooshes, adding wind. Like on a lot of my films, the wind you're hearing is a wind sound effects, because when a microphone with a dead cat, that's what this thing's called, the little fluffy thing, when that records wind, it just doesn't sound good. But like getting like the whistle of the wind or like leaves crunching, like adding in the atmospherics and creating an immersive video for like long form stuff, that's what really stands out in the sound design. For short form stuff, it's a super interesting world. So like short form vertical content right now is very, very interesting.
Yes.
And I have a marketing background, and that's honestly where like a lot of my work I do is social media consulting. I love the psychology behind it, and that's way more of what it is. It's way more attention grabby, fast paced. having the right cuts, the right zooms, and creating a video that's engaging to the viewer. And so I do a lot of videos where I'll have myself on the top shooting my bow, and then on the bottom is a target. That instantly gives the viewer 2 times the amount of things to look at than if it was just me shooting my bow. Because they see an action and then they see a payoff right there. And they get instant like dopamine. Because like, oh, good shot, bad shot, good shot. And right now it's a lot of bad shots. I'm hitting that tree behind my target a lot. But they get to see things, and then it's adding the right subtitles and adding like a text hook. Way more of trial and error for everybody and figuring out. And one thing I've noticed in the hunting industry is the hunting industry is pretty far behind every other industry when it comes to marketing and just adopting new technologies, because hunters are so based in tradition. And I love that thing. Like, I love that about us as a community. And it's really interesting because a lot of my buddies who are in marketing for tech companies and all this, they're scrambling right now to figure out how to produce 25 reels a day with AI that look realistic. And they're like, I'm like, AI videos won't come for hunting, because one, hunters see through bullshit better than any other market.
Yes.
They see through BS marketing, BS products so fast. And as soon as even once it gets to the point where you visually can't tell the difference between a AI video of somebody hunting and a real video, there's just going to be soul in one and not in the other. And so having that, I'm like, I'm not scared. Like, the outdoor industry is going to be the least like marketing wise impacted by AI. It's going to impact it a lot, don't get me wrong, but I don't think it's going to replace actually doing the thing. I think personally AI and like the next big marketing thing is going to be in-person events, because AI, like, you can't trust anything unless you see it with your own eyes nowadays.
Yeah. No, and I do think from the social media standpoint, and speaking relevance to the hunting industry specifically, I think I agree with everything you just said, and I think that it does the attempted integration in some regards of AI here and there. I think it does make people appreciate authentic creators, or creators that put in the time and to actually put that quality on your screen and everything. It makes it more evident, and as AI continues to try to integrate more and more into it, it's only going to continue to do that. The social media thing is just it. I feel like, I don't know why, I always feel like I'm playing catch up, probably because I am. I've taken a few self-motivated classes here and there on that kind of stuff just for the sake of my own brand, but I've been relatively self-taught with a lot of my stuff. I would consider you, there's no ifs, ands, or buts, you are a better creator than I am in that regard when it comes to productions and stuff, but it has been quite the journey, just having to keep up with the direction that socials have gone in the last 5 or 6 years. It's just, things have changed so quickly, and yeah, it can be exhausting sometimes, in all honesty. But
yeah, I saw a post the other day that was like, can we just go back to the old Instagram where I could just post a picture of a buck and like it's okay, and I don't have to optimize every post. I don't have to analyze. And I'm like, yeah, the amount of freaking analytic reports I brief, oh my gosh. Like, I have three screens in front of me right now, running and like learning things, because it's so fast. Like, Instagram updates weekly, weekly updates to the algorithm right now. And Instagram is actually really interesting. They're trying to combat AI generated content. YouTube is as well. Like, the social media platforms they don't want it.
Yeah.
Which is, it's just going to be interesting to see how it plays out over the next, ChatGPT became prevalent 4 years ago.
Yeah,
right?
something like that.
And now look how big AI, like 4 years. That's it. And it's not linear, it's exponential. I'm very deep into the AI weeds. Like, I mess around. I love that stuff. I think it's so interesting. There was somebody said, it's crazy how we have all this AI, but humans are the ones in Amazon warehouses and AI is the one creating art. And I almost disagree with that a little bit. I think AI is allowing people, when used properly, let me preface this, like, it allows me to be more efficient with my time on a computer so I can spend more time doing what I love. I can run AI agents to learn and do content research for me while I spend time with my wife, while I go shoot my bow. I have a system where I just plug my SD card in from a content shoot, and it knows what files are where to organize them. It organizes them, and then I pull it up, and it's all organized, ready for me to hammer away. That saves me maybe 10 minutes, but that's 10 minutes of time every single time I plug in an SD card, which is like 3 times a week.
Yeah. No.
And so it's like the little things optimizing. It's interesting.
Yeah, it is a valuable tool. I will never argue that. I use it in some regard, whether it's for business or work or just my own knowledge on whatever. I use it daily, right? But it's yeah, it has its place, but it's not meant to replace everything. And to your point earlier, I don't think it will in the hunting industry either. But I do want to ask you, while we're on the topic though, going back more to just the creator side, and you talked about kind of not the long form, excuse me, the reels and everything on social media right now, and that kind of stuff. What advice do you have for creators who might be tuning into this, and they're trying to get into that hunting media side of things and everything, and they're trying to keep up, they're trying to create content, post reels, do that kind of stuff? What's your advice for them right now?
I'll preface it with this. There's never been an easier or a harder time to become a content creator than right now.
Yeah.
It's kind of like the new rat race. Everybody and their mom wants to do it. And I love it. I think it's great. I think everybody should try. But it's crazy how many people get burnt out. I mean, I've been in this 7 years now. And yeah, I saw unreasonable success in the first 6 months. In the first 6 months of creating content, I had 400,000 followers back in 2020. That's not normal. That was, I've tried recreating that. You can't anymore nowadays. The algorithms have changed. And my advice, if you're just now getting into it, be unique. Be who you are. That is the only thing that's going to separate you from another guy next door who does the same thing you do. It's not going to be how good you can shoot a bow. It's not going to be the tips you can teach. It's going to be your personal opinions, your personal beliefs, your personality, and what you do on a daily basis. And by that, I mean, do you post on a daily basis? Are you creating content and engaging with an audience? Even if you have 500 followers, if you have people commenting on your post, go comment back. Like, I always try to comment back to every single comment I get. And that's a chore. I'll spend 45 minutes a day on my phone just talking to random people that I don't know. But you never know what's going to come of it. For example, I had a guy FaceTime me, never met the guy, and he watched me shoot my recurve, and I had like a 20-minute free lesson from a guy. Like,
heck
so
yeah,
just be who you are, do unique things. Go, like, everybody that I know in hunting, especially, a lot of hunters have goals, right? They're like, oh, I want to kill X thing. And then they just go do it. Record your journey. Why not?
Yeah.
Well, it takes effort. People don't want to put in effort. It's this. Yeah.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say it's the long game. You got to play the long game.
Yeah.
It's not instant gratification. Not at all.
Yeah. It's been the consistency, I think, speaks volumes, and I think that's where you start losing some people with some of it, because I mean, you can search for endless days on Instagram and find small pages with the word outdoors at the end of it, right? And people who either currently or at one time have started to grind or started to do it and everything, and it comes down to just that intentionality, I think, and sticking with it, and then also being willing to learn and adapt as things change, and not giving in to the definition of insanity and not just doing the same thing over and over again, right? Trying to, if something's not working, trying to find another solution, and then finding your niche. I mean, we do, like us over here, we do online and hunting media plenty and a lot of stuff, but in the last few years we've put a lot of eggs in the podcast basket, because that's been what's working, right? So
well, I think podcasts are going to be, I think content wise, podcasts, long form YouTube videos, and live streams, that's going to be That's already in every other industry. That is already the top social media formats because it's harder to AI those.
Yeah.
You can't, they're not getting as infiltrated and live streams, especially because it's raw, it's real, it's unedited, and it's the most authentic form of social media there is out there. If you say the wrong word, if you trip and fall, if you do the wrong thing, it's people see it. You can't clip it out. You can't cut that. It's all there. Everything's on the table. And so I don't know how or when or if that'll ever come to hunting, but there's things that I'm talking about with clients that are somewhat similar, but how do you do that more? That's another thing to think about. How do you show reality more? Like I was just talking to a buddy today and I'm editing a film for him. I won't say who or what film, but there's a missed shot and he wanted it edited out. And I'm good with whatever. I'll do whatever. But I would say, why not leave it in? Like show your humanity.
Yeah.
But I get it. It's embarrassing. I mean, I've edited out plenty of my missed shots in films.
Yeah,
things happen.
I've had a whole series of me hunting down here in Texas on Carbon TV, where there's a lot more unsuccessful episodes than successful episodes in that series, right? But it's authentic. It goes through a journey and an everyday experience that people can relate to in a lot of ways too. That's the other piece of it, I think, too, is, you know, and again, specific to the hunting industry, and this is not knocking on the big names of the industry or anything like that, or the people who are on the Outdoor Channel and that kind of stuff. But, you know, I think that they're obviously people are attentive to that content, to those shows, and they enjoy them. But there's also a crave and a desire for relatability. And I think like the hunting public is a good example, right? Those guys blew up. And I think a big part of it is because it was, you know, people could relate to it. Yeah, it's achievable.
See themselves doing that.
Yeah. I could leave my house tomorrow and probably go do the same thing that those guys are out there doing. They're just really good at documenting it. So, yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, there's
that's it. Like, there's the amount of people that I know doing cool things who are like, oh, I want to start a page. I'm like, do it. You're doing something cool and unique.
Yeah.
It's a lot of effort to document. I mean, I got 2 cameras right here. I got a GoPro as well, and I film on my phone. And then I got to take all that footage, and I got to edit it. Then I got to add captions. Then I got to add text. Then I got to figure out what I'm actually going to talk about on these videos. Like, it is effort, and that's just like that's what stops people. And it's interesting because I think that back to the whole AI thing, like AI makes things a lot more effortless, but it won't make genuine content creation more effortless in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
And so for new guys, like, yeah, you've heard it said, I know there's accounts out there that hundreds of thousands of followers and everything's only ever filmed on their phone. And that's good. Like, you can do a lot with the phone. Phone footage is insanely good nowadays. And anytime I hear somebody say, oh, I can't start doing social media because I don't have a camera, I think that's BS. I only use cameras, but that's because I have a different approach.
Right.
But I also only used a phone. I have gained 10 times more followers. Oh, no, over 15 times more followers using just my phone than I have using these 2 cameras.
Yeah. No, the power of these things now is incredible.
It's insane.
Yeah. And I mean, we have, you know, a team of content creators with almost 40 people now that contribute to our platform across the country, and different levels of experience across the board with that, anywhere from a full-blown show producer all the way down to, you know, just an entry-level creator, basically. And I tell people all the time, don't take for granted what the thing in your pocket can do, because I mean that is a great way to at least get you into it. Phone cameras are better than they've ever been before, and they're only going to keep getting better, so take advantage of it, right? That doesn't mean you don't upgrade or integrate something else into your arsenal that you're using to film, but I mean, yeah, it can
go from a phone, get a newer action camera. This is an old 3. I'm actually buying 2 new action cameras, 3 new action cameras this year, to film unique angles. I will be using a lot of these footage. Like, I'll have this footage side by side with footage out of this camera. This is I probably sell this for $100 right now. I bought this thing, just the body was $3,500.
Yeah.
And that's not even the most, like, that's a midline camera. And you treat it right, you use the right settings, you can make this blend in pretty well. Like it's going to look good side by side.
Yeah.
I mean, people like me can tell the difference. Like people who like pay really close attention can really tell the difference. But like if you don't have a 4K TV, you're not gonna tell the difference. If you're not rendering it at the highest buffer rate possible when you're streaming YouTube, which most people aren't, you're not gonna be able to tell the difference.
Yeah.
So it's like, why people get so obsessed with specs when it's like, just go do the thing. Just go like do it and document it. Yeah, I tell everybody like your first 100 videos, they're gonna suck.
Yeah.
Do it anyways.
Yeah, I have a problem now going back and listening to my early podcasts or
I hate doing that.
watching the early videos. I can't, man. Like I just, yeah. I mean, if other folks want to, go for it, but I'm not going to. I'm forward focused.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, it's a whole new thing. Just content creation and how many people are getting into it. I love it. It just like with hunting pressure, if you want to be in it, it's going to make it harder.
Yeah.
But it's going to like it's harder to be a content creator now. Brands are harder to reach out to because they're getting so many people reaching out a day.
Yes.
Just like if your public land spot got blown up, you got to hike farther. It's harder.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean it's impossible. It just means you got to try harder than everybody else.
Yeah, you have to put in the work, and I mean we've seen that from our standpoint over the years as we've grown and trying to knock on doors and make some connections with partners in the industry and that kind of stuff. It's like it's saturated with people who are doing the same thing, and there's one if not two. I won't even say they're problems, but they're hurdles that you have to get through, and it is you have so many people, like you said, that are knocking on the door, and you have to be able to quickly and pretty much initially from the get-go set yourself apart as somebody that they need to consider. And then the second part of that is, if they are a bigger brand, typically they have a big list already of quality creators that they're willing to work with or wanting to work with. And again, you're competing in that pool now if you make it to that point. So it's just, yeah, and it's only going to continue to grow like that as stuff online pushes. So it's yeah, it all comes back, like I said earlier, to the drive and the intentionality and the work.
Well, and that's why, like, being who you are, being uniquely yourself, like God made all of us beautiful individual human beings. All of us have different opinions, different beliefs, different thought processes. And that is the only thing that's going to set you apart. Like, whether you're Tim Wells and you go freaking blowgun and spear animals and use really random freaking weapons, or you go and you just go, okay, I'm going to rifle hunt, but I'm going to go do coos deer, but I'm only going to shoot 100 yards. Like, you do random, unique things that you like to do. For me, like, I'm really into budget builds right now. Like, I didn't have a mentor. I spent a lot of money on arrows. I shot match grade Easton FMJs were the first arrows I ever shot on my bow. Way too expensive, dude. Those things are freaking pricey.
Yes,
and
they are.
As I'm learning, I'd break or bend them, and it was like detrimental. I got these Amazon arrows that I've been shooting, just testing out. No, I can tell that they group bigger. Like, their tolerances suck, but they group. Like, if you're beginning, you need to know. So, like, that's what I've set myself up. It's like, I like the budget gear. And one thing that, like, another piece of advice is, like, don't be afraid. And this is going to sound kind of counterintuitive, but, like, don't be afraid to offend brands. Like, I started promoting these budget arrows, and my buddy texted me and he goes, dude, like, what if Easton's never going to sponsor you now? And I'm like, okay, like, they might not, but, like, okay. And, like, I'll buy their arrows anyway. I love Easton arrows. I haven't shot the same arrow for a single year of archery. I've shot a different arrow every year because I like to tinker. But it's like, that's not where I make my money. And so that's kind of how, like, I've set myself up, is I can do all these experiments and show all these things because I have my own work. Like, my content creation, the Gabe Robinson brand and that's not where I make my money. That's where I go have fun. That's my hobby.
Yeah.
But it also funnels to my job. And so it all intertwines. And so building yourself a niche around who you are instead of what you do is like what I would summarize that as. Is the niche is hunting, but my niche is Gabe Robinson's take on hunting.
Yeah. No,
that's everybody. Like,
yeah.
Think about what you want to do.
Don't change yourself just for just for a piece of the puzzle, or to your point, or what you referenced, like a brand or that kind of stuff. You're gonna encounter negativity or a difference of opinion, whether it's with people or brands or whatever it might be, as time goes on. I mean, even we're almost 300 episodes into this podcast, and even here recently, I had somebody reach out to me, with talking about a guest that I had on the show, like somebody that I would consider a friend, but they're like, you had them on. It's like, yeah, I did. And I'm also gonna have this person on. I'm also gonna have this person on. Like, it's my show.
It's my life.
Yeah, I don't have to agree with everything that person says to have them on the show and have a conversation. I think the dialogue's healthy, and that's a whole nother conversation. But I agree. Be you and be authentic, and don't compromise yourself or your own viewpoint on stuff or the way that you want to do things just because there's something shiny over here. So
Yeah, and don't like on the authentic side. I had a buddy I was talking to the other day. He was just talking about being genuine and vulnerable online, and I told him, and I asked him, like, do you have friends in real life? And he's like, yeah. And I'm like, do you have people that don't like you in real life? He's like, yeah. I'm like, well, you're gonna have people who follow you online, and you're gonna have people who don't like you online. It's gonna be the same.
Same.
And so, kind of like, just get over yourself and be authentic and be genuine and like be who you are. I think people would like to think that everybody's watching. Dude, nobody's freaking watching you. Nobody's watching you. Your mom, your wife, your brother, maybe they're watching you, but they make, like, I have friends from high school, like when I started doing this, they're like, what are you doing? And I'm like, I don't know, messing around, doing my thing. Okay, I'm gonna go do my thing. They can do their thing.
Yeah.
They don't get 100 days out of the year. I do. Like, that's their problem, not mine.
Yeah.
And so, like, I think that comfort in like in solitude, or like comfort in being alone in what you're doing and doing what you're doing alone, is really necessary. But that's why, like, with how supportive my wife is, I wouldn't be here without her, because I struggled alone. I struggled with that mental aspect of like pushing through and looking at my own content and being my own worst critic. But then having somebody that's like, that's great. That's great, babe. That looks amazing. That's so cool. It's so fun. Like, that helps so much. And I think people are way too critical of each other, or think that they are, but everybody's got to remember, basically everybody's doing everything for the first time.
Yeah.
Like, nobody's lived life before. It's their first try at life.
Yeah, exactly.
Give other people a little bit of grace.
Man, it always helps sometimes to have that set of eyes or somebody else to see it, maybe not from your lens. And I see, like, from an editing standpoint, I think that's crucial with some stuff, especially as you're growing and developing. I remember when I edited the film for our elk hunt that we had a couple years ago, the whole, like, I am very proud of the work that I was able to accomplish on that production. But at the same time, I was also like, I could see what I could, like, watching it back, you see all the hurdles that you had to come through as the producer and the editor. Like, oh man, I wish I had that, or I didn't have that shot that I was hoping to have for that. So I had to make, like, I had to do this, or I had to do that, or, you see all the bugs and all the little things. But then, like, I remember we were actually on a ski trip when I finished the first draft of the edit, basically, and we were there with my family and my in-laws, and that night in the hotel, I was like, hey, I'm gonna put this up, and y'all are gonna watch it and tell me what you think. And they thought it was great and stuff.
Yeah.
Sometimes that kind of helps. You realize, like, okay, I'm getting too focused on the little things that and that aren't even, I don't even need to be worrying about this, right? So
Yeah, I did an aoudad film for Peterson's Hunting, and it's like one of my favorite films I've done. It was such a fun hunt, and we played it at my bachelor party. Like, I was like, this is super cool. I want to show you guys this. I like show you guys what I do for a living, and they were like, dude, this is awesome. But I just remember sitting and watching it through, and like subconsciously, I sat there and I'm like, ooh, that looks dumb. Oh, they think this is dumb. And then all of them were like, dude, that's awesome. And I specifically asked them, like, hey, did you guys notice, like, there was like 4 things? So it's still a rough draft. And they're like, that happened. And I rewind and I like specifically it's like 5 pixel things that are just mismatched cuts. And they're like, dude, I would never notice that unless I went frame by frame. And I'm like, yeah. And it's just a reminder that especially when you're editing or producing something or creating, I would say anything, you're the only one looking at it at the level of detail that you are.
Yes.
Everybody else is looking at it, consuming it. You're looking at it, creating it. And so you're looking at every single flaw, whereas somebody else is going to look at all the good things, all the cool things.
Yes.
And so just a good reminder to just send it and like be okay understanding that, hey, like when I close my eyes and I picture the films I want to produce, I'm not there yet. I want to produce documentary style films that are beautiful with all these shots, and I'm not there yet, but I'm working on getting there. I send my films to people who are better than me. I try to learn. I take notes. I go, okay, like when you have a film that you produce and you finish, go back and watch it and be like, okay, what would you change? Write down everything you change about it and then turn that into an actionable list to plan ahead and be better for the next time.
Yes.
And whatever that looks like.
Yeah.
And same goes for social media stuff.
Yeah, I agree, man. I completely agree. Man, we could keep talking about this forever, but I just kind of got a glimpse at the time and everything. We're
almost hour and a half.
Yeah, we're rolling, so I need to probably start trying to wrap this thing up. But I did want to ask, just before we completely move on from the film and content topic, recommendations that you have. First off, share with us what those cameras, like you were referencing, exactly what those are, and then also for somebody that might not have a $3,500 budget, right? What, in your opinion, would be a good entry level camera to maybe start stepping their game up?
Yeah, so this is a DJI Action 3. This generation doesn't connect, but you can get the little mics, and the Gen 4 action camera will connect. Cool. Starter point. This is a combo. I would say get the DJI mics because good audio is 50% of a video, and a good camera. The Action 5 and 6, I think the 5 you could probably find it for $300 to $400. Great little cameras. No zoom, super wide angle, so like you're not going to get super good kill shots, but you can do a lot with these if you know what you're doing. And then miniature mics and a good shotgun mic if you're running a bigger camera. Always necessary. Audio is first. So this is my newest camera. This is a Sony A1. This is their flagship model from a few years ago. I got this one specifically because it can shoot 4K 120 frames a second, so I can shoot slow-mo. And then this is a camera, I would say this setup right here with this lens is basically, this is a camera I filmed an entire year of shows on. And like everything. I filmed everything on this body, this lens. And I love and hate this lens. It's a Tamron 28 to 300 millimeter. So you have almost a 10x zoom, and I've gotten rifle kills. Like you can get it out to about 300 yards. You can film a really good kill shot on this. So for an archery hunt, this covers every single thing you need. The only thing is this lens doesn't seal well to bodies, so you get dust on your sensor, which is no bueno. But this is about a $900 lens. It's a pretty cheap lens, and right now you can find this body about $1,200. So about $2,500, you can get a good body and a good lens. I would recommend, it's hard because like that 4K 120 mark is just, it's a ticket above this, but it's like an extra almost $1,000 for that spec in some of these Sony cameras. I don't know what it is for Canon, but yeah, Sony A7 IV with the Tamron 28 to 300. That was my main run and gun when I broke into full frames. Obviously I have 24 to 70, like staple of a lens. This is a Sigma, and then I have another wide angle for like fishing content, 16 to 25 lens. That's mainly the lenses I use. If for kill shots, I'll film I have a mountain mag from Epoch Outdoors. I'll film through spotters. You just gotta have good quality spotters. Yeah. If you're just starting and you want to run a camera body because you want to get photos, that's where the action cameras kind of don't do great as photography. The Sony A6 line, so it's like A65, A600, and A6700. Those are really good starter cameras. I have a couple buddies who ran those for years and produced beautiful films. They're considered what's a crop sensor. So it's a 1.5 crop. So it's like, I don't know, like 33% smaller, something like that. So you lose a little bit of quality. You lose a little bit of low light performance, but you get a lot of the same specs. And on a lens, it's more zoomed in. So this 28 to 300 would be more like 42 to 360, 380, something like that, which is sometimes nice, sometimes not. So those are, and you could probably get those with a somewhat decent lens for $1,500 to $1,000 if you got a really cheap one. And that's a really good place to start if you want to get a camera with interchangeable lenses. A lot of guys are still doing camcorders. Camcorders are sweet. They're kind of old. Can't do photos on them. The hybrid, these are both hybrid cameras, so I can do photo and video work on them, that's just what I prefer. But yeah, that's kind of that. That's just the Sony line. I use Sony. I like it. There's guys producing banger films on Panasonic, on Canon, on whatever they want to use. But if I was going to switch camera body brands, I would have to sell all my lenses and get all new lenses, or get an adapter, and then the lenses wouldn't work as well with the bodies.
Yeah.
And then your phone, film on your iPhone.
Yeah.
Like, as far as cameras, that's kind of my spiel for that. Invest in lenses over bodies. Bodies, like 4 years ago, this body was $7,000. Now they have a Gen 2, but this lens will hold value percentage-wise way better than the body will.
Right, exactly. Awesome. Well, yeah, good stuff. Before I get to the closing questions, on the regard of what you have and what you run, now I did want to ask about your archery setup, like compound bow, recurve bow. Exactly. What do you run? And that's just the archery nerd in me being curious.
You're good. So I got a Hoyt RX5. Right now I have these cheap arrows, but I'm gonna get Terra Firma arrows. I got a buddy who's an arrow dealer, and he's gonna hook me up with those to try them out as a budget arrow.
Yeah.
Gas strings. I run an Excel True Ball. It was a 5-pin, but one time, my first time I shot at an antelope, I swear all 5 pins melted into one, so I cut 2 of them out, just so it's simpler. And then I run mine at 30, 40, 50, and I have markers for the bottom 2. And out to about 80, 90, that third pin is roughly 10 yards above wherever my top marker is. So I kind of have 3 pins everywhere. And then my bubble level is about 10 yards below. So I know my hold unders.
Yeah.
Go sticks. I run the Spot Hog Wise Guy release. I used to run a thumb button, but I had one break, which sucked. Tight spot, quiver, and then just bee stinger stabilizers. I never really invested too much in stabilizers. But yeah, I bought this bow used, and I love it.
Yeah, that's awesome. It's a good setup.
This is my recurve setup. I think all in all, this thing's less than $250. The bow is 150, and then I just Amazon quiver, leftover stabilizer that I had, and then a glove and some Amazon arrows that I've been just shooting through to get reps down range.
Yeah, awesome. Good stuff. So, yeah, I always love to ask and love to see it. I agree with you. I mean, now at this point, yeah, I do have expensive stabilizers. I'll admit it, but I do think that stabilizers, initially when I first got into archery, long time ago, it was all like my mind was just on dampening, and now it's like, no, it's all balance. That's where I need to worry about my stabilizers, is more on the balance side of what my bow is able to do and how it needs to be rigged up. So
yeah,
I definitely.
Yeah, I always say, as far as if you're looking to get into a bow, the things that matter most are the things that touch your arrow. So your rest, having good release, and then sight.
Yeah.
That's like the 3 things I would put money towards first. You can get, if you have a really good sight, release, and rest, you can put it on an old Matthews Mission, and you can shoot good groups.
Yeah.
But if you have a crappy rest and put a whisker biscuit on an RX-10, your groups are not going to be nearly as good.
Yep.
So
exactly,
it kind of matters where you spend your money. But yeah, that's my setup for this year. Should be a good year. So what hunts do you have lined up this year?
Man, I'll be hunting Texas. I might get to hunt I might get to go on an out of state hunt. Kind of waiting and seeing on that one. Not gonna share a whole lot about that one just yet, but yeah, this year is just gonna be sticking around here and everything. So the past couple years, it's kind of been how things have gone. My wife has had some health issues in recent years and stuff, so been trying to keep it closer to home and everything. But she's on the mend, so hopefully, probably won't be this year, but maybe next year I can start maybe getting back out into some other states, because I've spent some time in Montana and Colorado and Idaho, and man, I want to go back so bad. I'm ready.
The best.
So, yeah, it's good stuff. Man, I do appreciate you coming on the show. I got 3 questions for you just to wrap it up. I ask every first-time guest that comes on the show these questions. First one is a short question, but sometimes leads to a lot of conversation. But anyway, gun or bow?
For life, bow.
Yeah, Can only pick one?
Bow everything. Bow fishing, bow hunting, bow everything.
I love it. I love
The
it.
only reason I'm picking up a gun this year is because I have a coos deer tag and I want to kill one.
Perfect. I love it. I'm looking forward to hearing about that hunt too. That sounds exciting.
Be fun. Be a fun one.
Next question is, what is your favorite or one of your favorite hunting memories to date in your life?
Getting to guide my dad on his first antelope this year. That was I shot the biggest buck of my life this year. I shot the biggest antelope of my life this year. I watched somebody take down a Utah Shiras moose with a bow this year. But watching my dad shoot a pronghorn buck and getting to hunt with my dad for the first time in my life and guide my dad for the first time in my life was so surreal. It was weird to take the man who taught me everything about the woods and say, hey, look, I learned a new skill. It's my turn to teach you. I get chills taught. Like I have a picture of it framed. It's that's the one up there. And then this isn't a hunting memory, but my wife always wanted to shed hunt. And I proposed to her in this beautiful area where I told her we're going deer hunting. And she's like glassing for deer, and I get on knee behind her and propose and whatnot. And then the next day we actually go deer hunting out there. And she was talking about how she's like, can we go shed hunting? And I'm like, it's November. There's not sheds on the ground right now. And as we're dragging this deer that we just shot out, I shot a doe, and I look down in the timber and I see a little tine poking out. And I go, hey, babe, go grab that. And it's a freaking monster muley deadhead. And we found like maybe 200 yards from where we got engaged.
Wow.
So
that's awesome.
Those are my top two memories. And I just feel like every year I keep having better and better memories and enjoying it more and more. And yeah. And obviously my first buck, that's another number one for me.
Yeah. Now, everyone I ask, they always have many things that come to mind, which is awesome. That's how it should be. And then every single one of them seems to, or the majority of them, I should say, have something to do with somebody else, or like you're talking about your dad, your wife, and etc. And I love that. That just goes back to kind of what we talked about at the beginning, with it being a communal thing out there in the woods too.
Yeah.
At the same time. So, final question. And you have gotten to do a lot of cool experiences so far, or be a part of a lot of cool experiences, I should say. But what is on your at the top of your personal bucket list on hunts that you want to go on as the hunter?
Mid-Asian ibex with a bow.
Mm.
I'll do it one day. I'm going to do it.
That's awesome.
Don't know when.
Yeah.
It's going to happen. That's up there. I have plans I got to do my first international hunt this year. So I went to Mexico earlier this year, and I got to shoot a female aoudad as part of my payment for the film. They crushed some monster aoudad down there. That was wild.
Nice.
And that really opened my eyes to international hunting. And so, like, the hunting we have here is amazing. I love shooting. Like, I love the opportunities here, but the species I love chasing species. And so, like, after I kill this coos deer this year, next year I'm gonna try to do Sitka blacktail, and I'll have my slam. So yeah, I'd love to just chase different species, but ibex, like, there's something about it. There's my favorite. They're just, man, those bastards are cool. That or
cool.
a dick with a bow. It's my other one.
A what?
A dick with a bow. It's the smallest African pronghorn.
Oh yeah, I know what you're talking about.
They're like this big, and people shoot them with like pellet guns. But I want to do it with a bow, and I don't know why. I think part of me is because I want to hang it on my door, and I can just tell people that my dick's above them when they walk in my house.
There you go.
They're funny. I don't know why I've always wanted to hunt one of those with a bow. But yeah, those are probably my top two.
That's awesome.
Subject to change. I feel like every year I learn about a new animal or a new hunt experience that I'm like, oh, that would be so rad. So
yeah, that's awesome, man.
I just want to go do cool shit. That's all I want to go do.
Yeah.
Film it or be the one doing it.
Yeah,
I like them equally.
And that's the cool thing. Not to further prolong our conversation, but even going as a cameraman, right? Even going as a producer, you learn a lot, and it makes you a better hunter at the same time. So, and I'll leave it at that. But there's something to be said about that. So, Gabe, thank you, man, for coming on the show this evening, spending well over an hour with me, and and talking hunting, talking content editing, all of it. I really appreciate it. I enjoyed this conversation.
Thank you so much for having me, dude. It was a blast. It's a blast.
It's been a good time. Tell our listeners where they can find you.
My Instagram handle is Gabe Robinson, but the last O in Robinson is a 0, and there's a period between them. That's where I post most of my stuff. I got a YouTube page I'm working on building up. I do TikTok as well, but I don't really do anything over there. Yeah, go see my content. Go check out my recurve bow series and make sure to follow along and figure out if I kill one with a recurve bow, and if I do, how far the shot is.
Yeah. We will be following along for sure, and curious about how that goes for you, and I look forward to seeing the success. So Casey9010 on YouTube says great conversation, so glad you enjoyed it, Casey.
Thanks, Casey.
Thanks, Gabe. I appreciate it, man. We'll have to run it back sometime, so thank you for coming on the show.
Happily. Thank you for having me.
Guys, thank you all for listening to another podcast. I will be back with you guys again next week for another episode. I will catch you then.